Good people, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to my channel. It has been way too long. It's been maybe like 2 weeks since my birthday, since the last video I posted, and a lot has happened in that time. Some of you, especially those who follow me on Instagram, will know that I relaunched my handcrafted herbal tea business called Sari Herbal Living. And for those of you who know about Sari from before, you know that it's extremely dear to my heart because I'm just so passionate about having products that I can actually offer you guys that help with your health and wellness journey, just in preventing disease and keeping you consistently healthy. So we went off the grid for a little bit just to revamp, listen to customer feedback, change up a few things and come back better and stronger, which we have. So if you want to try any of our products, please visit www.sariteas.com, or of course you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all our social media. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey because we have a lot of other products coming out and just exciting stuff in the pipeline. Before we get into this video, I want to ask you to please subscribe to my channel, especially if this is not your first time watching any of my videos. Please subscribe. I share health and wellness content at least once a week, and it will really help me get this information out to more people if you subscribe, and the videos are able to get more visibility. So with that being said, let's get into the video. What thoughts come into your mind when you see these foods? Let me guess. Bad, junk, calories, carbs, fat. Ask yourself why and whether ascribing these values to foods is actually justified. As the title suggests, so many of us have issues when it comes to food. Like, we just have such terrible relationships with our eating habits, which most of us develop from when we're quite young. Most of it is as a result of us having completely lost touch with our body's internal cues. We don't listen to our bodies anymore, what our bodies actually want or need. And in a lot of cases, we actually don't know. We've just been told, these are good, these are bad, don't eat this. If you're eating this, you should have this like feeling of guilt. And if you're eating this, you should feel accomplished. Food has no moral value, so foods are not good or bad, but that's something we'll get into in the video as I attempt to help you repair your relationship with food. Now, food is enjoyable for a reason. It's one of the many blessings that we have as human beings. The fact that we have the intellect to put flavors and things together and create meals and experiences that actually give us joy. That's something that diet culture has sucked out of a lot of our lives and something that we need to reclaim. It's actually possible to be healthy and happy, and not because you convince yourself that you're happy just because you had a salad, but genuinely enjoying your experience of living life and eating. And that leads me to my very first tip. The first thing is educating yourself about food. Think about where you get most of your information, and I'm not talking about just reading articles in magazines that are trying to sell you slim tea. When you say, oh, carbs are bad for you, I'm cutting out carbs, why is that? What is the composition of carbohydrates? What is the function of carbohydrates in your body? What does it actually do for you? And why is it that we have this idea that carbs are bad? Now, as I mentioned before, foods have no intrinsic moral value, so they cannot be good or bad. And this language is actually extremely problematic. If you educate yourself about what carbs are, proteins, fats, when you consume vegetables, what they actually do for your body, then you have more motivation to actually put good, nutritious foods in your body, and you will understand that you can get that nutrition from all the food groups. So my very first tip will be to educate yourself about what you're putting in your system. Eliminate these words good, bad from your diet when it comes to the foods you're eating, so referring to foods themselves as good or bad, and also when referring to yourself. So don't refer to yourself as, oh, a bad person, like, oh, I was so bad today, I had ice cream, or I was so good today, I had a salad. There's no morality attached to eating. Your body actually needs that fuel. So replace some of this vocabulary with healthier words like nutrient dense, satisfying, delicious, All these words have more value when you're talking about food. So if you look at your diet, you want it to be nutrient dense. You want to make sure that your diet has a good balance so that your body gets the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals that it needs, which is why it's so important to educate yourself about how you can get those things into your system through your food. This leads me to my second tip. Stop punishing and rewarding yourself for your eating habits. What I mean by this is going to the gym doesn't mean that you award yourself with food. And eating things you like doesn't mean that you punish yourself with the gym or with deprivation. You need to stop seeing food as something that you reward yourself with or punish yourself for. Food is for providing your body with energy and also providing yourself with a joyful experience. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and you need to take the guilt out of eating. The way you can do this is by practicing mindfulness when it comes to how you actually eat. So for one, as I've mentioned like 100 times before, honoring your hunger and fullness. If you get back in touch with your body's natural cues, you will know when you're getting hungry and actually need a meal, and you will know when you're full and you should actually stop. One of the things that's scientifically proven is that a lot of us use food as a coping mechanism for emotion. Well, you can actually also cause certain emotions due to your relationship with food that make you overeat. What I mean by that is, if your relationship with food is so fraught with guilt, guilt in itself is an emotion that can lead you to overeat. Because when you're having something that you actually enjoy, like a burger or French fries or a good bowl of pasta, that guilt makes you feel like, okay, I must not eat this next time, I shouldn't eat this tomorrow. And so you eat more than you should because you think you're not going to get to eat that meal again. Your body goes into fight or flight mode. It thinks that there's like a famine and it needs to hold on to all the fat it possibly can because starvation is on the way. So while you think you're salvaging the last moments of what is going to be your last cheat meal, you're really putting your body into shock when you overeat and make it think that this might be its last meal for a long time. So if you allow yourself to enjoy your meal while being conscious of your senses, your hunger and your fullness, making sure that you don't eat when you're close to starving, which is going to encourage you to overeat, and making sure that you don't eat past the point of comfortable fullness. You have to be conscious of your senses in order to take charge of your eating habits like that. And that will help you enjoy anything that you choose to eat at any given mealtime. After a while, your body will realize that food will always be available, and it will also get the things that you love and the things that you need, and your weight will stabilize if that is a concern for you. But don't use food as a reward system, and don't use it as something that you have to punish yourself for either. Take that out of the equation and watch your relationship with food improve. The third thing is you need to break this all or nothing cycle. It's either you're on a diet, eating grass and drinking just water, or you're binge eating and eating 3 burgers a day with pizzas and French fries and basically drinking up gallons of oil. It doesn't have to be this 100% one way or 100% the other. The goal is always to find that balance in between. So in a given day that you have a burger, if on that same day you exercise and you have a salad, it's fine, everything will balance out. But don't say to yourself, oh, I broke my diet, I'm having a burger, so I might as well have pizza and French fries and milkshake and cookies, and just overfeed yourself beyond the energy requirements that your body is actually calling out for. Dieting and restricting your food actually makes food a lot more attractive. So you hold yourself back and hold yourself back, but the moment you decide to reward yourself with some food, you're going to overdo it, you're going to overeat and tip the scales all the way to the other side. So just break down this all or nothing mentality and always aim for balance. Look at your eating habits more holistically. Look at the whole day, look at the whole week, look at an entire month, and see how you can balance out your diet in that time frame, as opposed to thinking about it on a meal by meal basis. Oh, I had this burger right now, I've done the worst, it's over, I'm throwing everything away. Absolutely not. Savor that moment, enjoy that meal, and at the next meal, be mindful of what nutrients you need to compensate for from your previous meal, and just take your eating experience as something holistic and not meal by meal. The fourth thing I would say is that you need to really stop comparing your eating habits to anybody else's. Your nutrient requirements will vary. Generally, human beings need a similar balance of carbs, proteins, vegetables, fruits, but you also have to remember that each individual person is different. If you put two people, someone who has a propensity to be larger and someone who has a propensity to be very small, on the exact same diet for a month, when you take their statistics at the end of that month, it's going to be different. Even when it comes to things like blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, not necessarily things that you can physically see, it's going to vary because everyone is different. So you need to stop punishing yourself by comparing your dietary habits to someone else. You can have someone who's on an absolutely terrible diet but is like a size 0, and then you have someone who's healthy and active and is actually a much larger size. I know that the media and magazines and social media and everything just makes you think that that's a lie. It makes you think that if you're a little bit larger or if you're particularly small, you're not doing the right thing, you must be lazy or something like that. But honestly, no, it really might just be your unique body composition, and that's absolutely fine. But when you're comparing yourself to other people who are not even running the same race, you're just punishing yourself. You're going to give yourself feelings of guilt and deprivation, and also like a feeling like you are not capable of actually managing yourself. And all that does is feed into your emotional habits of running to food, punishing, rewarding, pretty much all the things that I've spoken about before now. So just to reiterate the point, stop the comparison. Even apart from just with your diet, just in life in general, comparison slows you down so much. It's such a waste of time because you're not focusing on what your unique position is and what your unique abilities are. So stop the comparison and go back to the top of this list. Educate yourself about food, observe your body as you eat so that you see how your body is reacting to whatever dietary arrangement that you set up for yourself. And if you're healthy, you're exercising, you have a balanced diet, you go to your doctor for checkups, and not to check your weight, but to check things that are more important, like your blood sugar, your blood pressure, your cholesterol. See if all those things are balanced. Take proper nutritional medical advice, and just make sure that you're active. And you know what, wherever you land after that is perfectly fine. If all the internal mechanisms are working well, then the physical manifestation of your body, just don't stress about it. You're amazing. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Now, these were just some quick tips to help you start thinking about food differently. There's a lot more you can do in this process, but I didn't want to make this too long, and I wanted to make sure that it was, something that you take in bite sizes and start to work on. Watching this video is not going to be the end of this process. It's literally the very first tiny baby step. A lot of the work is in continuously reinforcing this new mentality until you believe it. Kind of like a mantra, like it's something that you have to keep reminding yourself of for a period of time. It's a process. After a while, you just find that food that used to be this big gargantuan thing that you think about all the time and you constantly feel bad and guilty and everything for, it just becomes something that your body needs, and you don't really stress about it that much. You will discover that there are things that you thought you loved, but when you paid attention to your hunger, your fullness, what your body was actually calling for, maybe you don't like it that much. Maybe you only like it when this auntie makes it. So make it a special occasion thing that you eat. I have mentioned before that I really don't like cake unless it's really, really good cake. So if I don't know that this cake is going to be fantastic, I'm not going to waste my time eating it because I don't actually enjoy that experience. But I always used to feel like, if I go to a party or something, it's my one chance to eat cake. No, if it's not a good cake, it's not worth it. One last thing I would say is that food is such a cultural thing, and so is diet and dieting. So what you find a lot of times, especially for us women when we're around our friends, the way we talk about food and our weight and dieting in general is so unhealthy, but it has just become a part of the conversation. It's almost like if you go out for ice cream with your friends or your family and you don't say, man, no, today is my cheat day, as in I'm going all out, I'm gonna have, there's something wrong if it's not your cheat day. You just want ice cream and you're having ice cream, it's not a big deal. We always feel the need to somehow explain why we're eating something or make fun of ourselves for eating something we enjoy. Why? Like, you're just attaching such negative connotations to the food, attaching guilt to it, and it's almost like a personal character assassination. Like there's something wrong with you and you're saying it like a secret, like, no, me, I have to have my 2 scoops of ice cream. Have your 2 scoops of ice cream, live your best life, it's fine. You can have something later that day or later that week that will balance all this stuff out. So really cut yourself some slack and be conscious of the way we're socialized to talk about food, because even outside of your social scenarios, those thoughts follow you home and you continue thinking about it. Even when you're eating by yourself, you feel guilty. So in conclusion, the real work starts with you and your mind, making a decision to stop characterizing food as good and bad, imposing feelings of guilt on yourself, and focusing more on being healthy, being balanced, and being conscious of that hunger and fullness scale. Don't wait until you're starving and don't eat until you're about to keel over. That too is a social thing that we do. Oh, I'm so stuffed, I can't move. It's fine, for a bit of fun, as long as you're not saying that with guilt. I hope you learned something new today and you find these tips useful. I really, really hope that you apply them to your life. They've made all the difference for me, I promise you. I don't apologize for anything that I eat, and at the same time, I make sure that I'm mindful that my body gets its nutrients. Please don't forget to visit sariteas.com. I promise you that you will love these teas. I work really hard at making sure that the flavors are unique and very rich, but also that they're beneficial. Like I mentioned, we have a bunch of products coming out. They'll be released over the coming weeks, and I would really love for you guys to be the first to discover them and try them. So also follow us on social media, follow me on social media for health and wellness updates. And remember, nothing good in life has ever missed you because of belly fat.